In the 1960s, while the world was watching Vietnam, the CIA was fighting a secret war next door in Laos. Because the U.S. had legally signed a treaty promising to stay out of Laos, they couldn't send the Air Force. Instead, they bought out a small airline called Civil Air Transport and renamed it Air America. It became the largest illegal airline in the world. The star of the fleet was the Pilatus PC-6 Porter. It looked like a regular bush plane, but it had STOL, or short takeoff and landing capabilities that defied physics. It could land on limey sites, short, jagged dirt strips carved into the sides of mountains. This act explores the creation of the front company and the illegal modification of civilian planes into war machines.
This is where the illegal tag gets literal. Because Air America was off the books, it had to be self-funded. This act dives into the allegations that the CIA-backed airline was used by local warlords to transport Golden Triangle opium. The Pilatus Porters were the only planes that could reach the remote poppy fields. Pilots described cargo that smelled of raw vinegar, morphine base, and bags of gold used to pay off guerrilla leaders. The pilots themselves were ghosts, ex-military, rebels who were paid triple the normal salary to sign away their identities. If a plane went down, the CIA would scrub the records and claim the pilot never existed. We explore the illegal economy that kept the secret war flying. By the early 1970s, the illegal war was no longer a secret to the enemy. The North Vietnamese had tracked the sound of the Pilatus Porter engines to the mountain peaks. The most critical point of the entire operation was Lima Site 85, a secret radar installation perched on a 5,000-foot sheer cliff. It was from here that civilian technicians were directing U.S. bombers over Hanoi. When the site was eventually swarmed by North Vietnamese commandos, the U.S. government faced a terrifying legal paradox. They couldn't send the Marines to save them because the Marines weren't legally allowed to be in Laos. The task of rescue fell solely on the shoulders of the Air America pilots. These men, flying under the banner of a fake corporation, flew their rugged Porters and Huey helicopters directly into a wall of anti-aircraft fire. They weren't flying for medals. They were flying because they were the only ones who knew these ghost technicians existed. The air was thick with the smell of tracer rounds and burning fuel as pilots performed hot extractions, landing on jagged outcrops while enemy soldiers were literally feet away from the rotor blades. As the war collapsed across Southeast Asia, the situation turned from a secret operation into a desperate scramble for survival. In the final days, the legality of the mission was thrown out the window. Pilots were flying planes that were dangerously overloaded, sometimes carrying triple the passenger capacity, just to ensure their local allies wouldn't be left behind to face execution. There are stories of pilots kicking crates of company gold out of the cargo doors just to make room for one more family. But the most chilling part of the evacuation wasn't the gunfire. It was the silence that followed. Once the last plane cleared Laotian airspace, the CIA began the process of scrubbing. Because the airline was an illegal front, there could be no paper trail. Planes were stripped of the Air America logos overnight. Flight logs that proved the transport of opium or gold were burned in metal barrels.
Pilots who had spent a decade risking their lives were given a handshake and a thank you, but no official military record of their service. When you look at the final images of these planes rotting in jungle boneyards or being sold off to mysterious shell companies in South America, you aren't just looking at old aircraft. You're looking at the evidence of a war that, according to the law, never happened. The legacy of Air America remains a blueprint for every dark government operation that followed. A reminder that when the mission is illegal, the only thing that matters is how well you can disappear once the lights go out.